My name is Senton Pojani. I work with Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, and today I'm going to talk to you about 6 fundamentals of information security that every firm should address. The first is information security is just more than IT. A lot of times when we think of information security, our mind always goes to IT, and we think that's really all there is to it. That could be due to just because a lot of our day-to-day functions involve IT, or because IT companies are always coming up with solutions. Whatever the reason is, that's all we usually think about. While I will admit that IT is one of the most important components of an information security program, executives must be made aware that there are other components that they do need to take into account. This brings me to my next point, which is your information security program must be a holistic program. Today's criminals are using information to their advantage. They know that you have client information stored, and they're willing to do anything they can to get to it. They don't care how good your IT security is, how good your compliance program is. They're going to do whatever they need to get their hands on that information. That information provides value to you for business purposes, but it also provides value to them for their own criminal purposes. You must have a program in place that addresses threats from multiple sources, both internally and externally throughout your organization. A lot of times executives don't realize there are internal threats that they need to take into account. Reliable human resources, asset management, physical and environmental security, and an incident breach response plan are all critical components of a holistic program. The third point is senior management must be the driving force behind this. When it comes to firms' information, it is senior management that is responsible from both a legal and a fiduciary perspective. And if an incident does occur and that trust is breached, at the end of the day, it is senior management that will have questions to answer. We feel that it's important that senior management instills a culture of information security that permeates all levels of the organization. But unless that begins at the top with the board, directors, and senior management, it'll never trickle its way down to the bottom, lower levels, and the front lines where it's most important. This brings me to my next point, which is educate, communicate, and train. Your employees must be made aware of the importance of information security. Despite our best intentions, a lot of times, employees don't do things in the manner in which they were explicitly trained to do so. Especially when it comes to information security, you'll see employees routinely do their task in a manner which goes against companies' basic protocols simply because they just didn't realize they were doing something wrong. Managers must communicate their expectations, they must educate on best practices, and they must train their employees to perform their task in a manner that does not expose the company to additional liabilities. This is one of the most important points that I'm going to talk about, and information security is a recurring theme that should pop up at all your employee meetings. My fifth point is you can't get in trouble for something you don't have. Information has value that criminals are looking to exploit. I can't tell you how many of the incidents over the past few years have been a result of data breaches in which companies did not know they had the information. It was information they didn't even need to have anymore. It's very important that you look at your own data and find out what data you have, why you have it, where you have it, and how you're protecting it. It's very important for you to only keep information that you need and keep that only for as long as it makes practical business sense. Once you're done using that information and you don't need it anymore, dispose of it in a safe and effective manner. This sounds like it could be a headache for you right now, but in the long run it will save you a lot of heartache and pain. Finally, my last point is your program and its standards must apply to everyone you do business with. In today's world, our businesses rarely stop at our perimeter walls anymore. In the interconnected business environment we operate in, we depend on subcontractors, vendors, business partners, and other third parties to help us deliver our product to our customers. You can take all the precautions and security measures you want, but if one of your business partners doesn't take those same precautions, all that goes out the window. You must make sure that your organization and your program and your standards align very carefully with that of your third-party business partner, because at the end of the day, it's your brand and your reputation at stake, and more importantly, your responsibility. Those are the 6 basic fundamentals. I'll run through them for you one more time. They are: information security is more than just IT. Your program must be a holistic program. It has to be driven by senior management. You must educate, communicate, and train your employees to understand the importance of information security. You cannot get in trouble for something you don't have. Don't store data that you don't need. And lastly, your standards and your program must apply to everyone you do business with.